Welcome to the Anxiety Connection. If you've ever struggled with anxiety and are ready to finally get some answers, you've come to the right place. Hi, my name is Wendy Leeds, and I've suffered with anxiety my entire life. Thankfully, I'm also a psychotherapist, and over the years, I've learned a lot about anxiety, where it comes from, and how to manage it. That's what this podcast is all about. So, let's grab a cup of tea and talk about it. Traditionally, we're told the holidays are the most wonderful time of the year. Everywhere we look, we're surrounded by images of smiling children, piles of perfectly wrapped gifts, loving families gathered around the table with that beautifully brown turkey, just waiting to be sliced and served. The stockings are hung by the chimney with care, and we all have peace and goodwill in our hearts. Ha! Here's the truth. The holidays are tough for almost all of us. Our homes, at least my home, does not look like the cover of a magazine. Maybe you can't either afford to buy all those gifts, or we go into debt to meet expectations. We run ourselves ragged to meet everybody else's expectations and to make them happy. And truth told, I don't think there's very much peace and goodwill in our hearts during the holidays. Not only that, not only can the holidays be stressful and overwhelming, for some of us, the holidays can be the most difficult and the darkest time of year. As I record this, we're also dealing with the struggles, the isolation, the fear, the stress of COVID. And all of that just ups the ante of what can be already a really difficult time. Everywhere I turn, I hear people worrying out loud, saying things like, can we get together? Should we get together? What if we don't? How do we celebrate? What about the children? What are we going to do? What about my parents? How can I afford this? I don't have a job. I'm living alone this year. How do I celebrate? What will the holidays look like for me? How the heck do we get through this? Now, if any of those questions sound familiar, you're not alone. If you're feeling lonely, overwhelmed, defeated, full of dread about what the holidays may hold this year, this podcast is for you and for me, because I have to admit, I'm struggling with all this too. Not easy. Today, I want to offer us all a different way of looking at things. I'm going to share 9 steps you and I can both take to help us through the days ahead, no matter what they hold. Step 1, first of all, let's be honest. Things are going to be different this year. And the first step is to just acknowledge it. Sit down with your children, your family, your friends, whoever is in your life these days. Let them know there are things you're just not going to be able to do this year. Maybe you can't get together with your family like usual. You may not be able to travel, host your usual parties, do your usual baking. I know at my house that's tough. We give out baked goods to everyone. Traditional religious services may be canceled, look different, or held virtually. Getting and giving are probably going to look really different too. And if you're struggling financially, as so many of us are, be honest about it. Acknowledge right up front, there's going to be less money or no money this year to spend on the holidays. Number 1, just get your cards on the table. But at the same time, let everyone know that just because things are going to be different this year doesn't mean there won't be things to look forward to. First of all, most importantly, you have each other. And now we have an opportunity to all kind of work together to make sure the holidays are special this year, even though they're different. And there's that word again. And let me say, different doesn't always mean worse. Different means different, not the same. What matters here is what you think about it, what you tell yourself about it, and everyone around you. And most importantly, what you decide to do about it, which brings me to step 2. And that's to work together, Wendy, because I like to just take charge, but this is not a place to do that. This is a place to come together, to work together. And I would love if we could start by asking ourselves and everyone else who's involved, what really matters to you? What is most important to you about the holidays? Not talking stuff, talking about what you would miss if it didn't happen this year. A tradition, a celebration, a food, a decoration, or maybe a feeling of peace or connection with the people around you or the past, or maybe a sense of traditional religious feelings. This is about getting to what really matters, getting to the heart of what you and the people around you really need to make this season merry and bright and peaceful and calm. Whatever is important to you, this goes first on the top of the list. And once you've sort of collected a list of things that are absolutely essential for you and everyone else, the next step is to work together to find ways to make these things possible. And maybe not exactly like usual, but if you're looking for connections to the people around you, how can we get that feeling? How can we create those connections or those feelings? And how can we make or find joy in these holidays? And remember, this is new to all of us. This year, 2020, we are pretty much all reinventing our lives as we go. And now we get to reinvent the holidays by working together to come up with new ways for doing old things. And if you're living alone, I'm talking to you too. And let me just say, you may be living alone physically, but you are not alone. There are family and friends who are only a phone call, a text, an email away. And one of the best things about all this new technology is that we're connected to everyone all the time. So why not reach out to friends and family now and see if you can come up with some new ways to connect or celebrate over the holidays. Even though you're apart physically, you can still be together in spirit and you can still celebrate together. Why not reach out to old friends virtually? My high school friends and I have reconnected online, and I just can't tell you how much fun it is. What a joy to reconnect with people who've been so much a part of my life. We sit down with a beverage of our choice and we just laugh out loud for 40 minutes. Why not reach out to people from your past? And why not reach out to people who might be new in your life, someone you'd like to know better? Now's the time. This is the season. Don't just sit there waiting and hoping and thinking and praying that someone's going to call you. Pick up the phone, write the email, write the text. You just never know how your outreach might make someone's day. You never know how lonely someone else might be, and you might make a new friend in the bargain. And it's sort of in the same spirit. Even if you're not living alone, you don't feel lonely. Remember, there are lots of people who are not so lucky. Maybe you know someone who is lonely or grieving a loss this year. It's been so tough. Maybe they're dealing with illness or isolation or sorrow. Why not reach out and offer some support and love and care? You, yes, you can make such a difference in someone else's life. And really, isn't that what the holidays are all about? Connecting, giving, and sharing who you really are. Now, just as an aside, if you're dealing with depression, if you're struggling to get through the day, if you're suffering from ongoing anxiety and you're not feeling well, reach out. Reach out to a healthcare provider, a mental health care professional, someone for your church, a trusted friend. Please, please, please Don't suffer alone in silence. Share what you're feeling with someone. Reach out and ask for help. I know it's tough, but you take that first step, and I promise you, you can find help out there. No more suffering, especially this time of year. Please. All right. Step 3 is to keep as many of the traditions as celebrations as possible. Put up your usual decorations, hang the lights, light the candles, put out the family's holiday treasure, that welcome mat with candy canes and jingle bells, the stuffed snowman with the missing eye, and the elf from the shelf, of course. Make the usual recipes, put the green bean casserole together with the mushroom soup, bake the nuts, bake the pecan pie. And I was thinking nuts because I will be putting nuts in my winter squash this year. And let me just say, in our house, the nuts are controversial. I believe having nuts are festive and fun, but there are other opinions on the matter. But this year, we're keeping with tradition, nuts in the casserole. Anyway, sing the songs, read the stories or words of faith. Remember, the holidays aren't just about stuff and sparkle. This year can be a year of remembering the simple things, the things of the heart, not the pocketbook. Remind yourself of the wonderful holidays in the past, the places and times and people you've celebrated with in years gone by. I'm gonna remember the hands that have touched the old decorations. I'm sorry. And I'm thinking of the hands of my long lost, loved ones who've passed, and how their hands touched those decorations. Feel that connection, that tradition. Maybe bring back some traditions from your childhood. We used to pop and string popcorn, and we would make paper daisy chains with construction paper and Elmer's glue. I can almost smell the glue. We made real chocolate in a saucepan, not from powder. And I had friends whose families made caramel apples or spiced nuts. Maybe it's time to make something old new again. Bring back those old traditions. Or maybe there's something you've always wanted to try, but you just haven't gotten around to, which brings me to the next step. And that's coming up with some new traditions of your own. If an old tradition isn't going to work this year, why not use this as an opportunity to explore new things? Make a new recipe with your old standards or in addition, on its own. If you're alone or just cooking for two, why not go crazy wild and try a whole new menu? Just throw caution to wind. Pizza, sushi, barbecue, be bold. You may come up with something so delicious and fun that you might just want to keep on serving it in years to come. Challenge yourself and friends and family to come, and everybody else, to come up with new ways of being together. Why not hold an online Monopoly tournament where you can cook dinner together online, then sit down and eat together, bake together, decorate sugar cookies, listen to Christmas music, all virtually. You can sing carols, watch a holiday movie, share what's in your heart. All of that can be done virtually. Be bold and creative. There is no wrong way to do this. It's all new. And who knows, we might all find new traditions to add to the old standbys. All right, step 5 is going to be tough. Step 5 is all about gift giving. And this year, so many people are unemployed or just struggling financially. So many people are on a limited budget or have nothing to spend on gifts this year. And if I'm talking to you, you may be feeling ashamed, embarrassed, like a failure, and you're going to let down the people you love and who love you. And if you don't give those usual fabulous gifts, you're not okay. And I hear you, and I get this is a tough place to be. We are all so locked into our expectations of what we're supposed to give and what we're supposed to get. You have to get the right label, the perfect electronic thingamabob, that gadget, or the new toy everybody's talking about. You know what I mean? that expectation that you spend a certain amount of money and you show up with a certain amount of stuff. And if you don't, well, there's something wrong with you. But hear me, please hear this. What you can or can't give has nothing to do with who you are or your value as a human being. We are talking about things here, stuff, half of which gets returned in January or banished to the back of the hall closet or the basement to gather dust for years to come. You know, the stuff you keep tripping over. It has nothing to do with who you really are. That label, the price tag, that's not you. You are a wonderful, gifted human being. And here's the truth. You have so much more to give the people you love, so much more than a rotary drill or a pair of silver earrings. The value of your gift is not that you opened your wallet, but that you opened your heart. So this year, why not open your heart and give of yourself? No need to apologize, feel embarrassed or ashamed, or like a failure, because you are not. Use this as an opportunity to share who you are, your talents, and your special skills, or your gills. If you use these skills to make gifts for people on your list and to make them personal. For instance, if you're good with a computer, why not make some personalized note paper or just design your own Christmas cards or cards for someone else and maybe put a picture of their home on it or a picture of their children or a picture of them. If you knit, make mittens or socks for people in their favorite color. If you're good with wood, build a little jewelry box with a name etched in it. Paint a picture of a beloved dog. Bake and decorate a cake with someone's name on it. Take pictures. Make it personal. And I know you're saying, Wendy, fine for adults. Grown-ups get it. Grown-ups understand. Times are tough. Kids are different. They expect that pile of toys, the ones they see on TV, and they are expensive. Here's what I remember from my childhood, and here's what I think is true about that. I had two sets of grandparents who were very much in my life and very generous. My brother and I got lots of stuff at Christmas. But here's what I remember most. One year, my grandfather made my brother and I kitty stilts, and he made them using juice cans, you know, the kind you get your pineapple and your tomato juice in. He opened them with the old-fashioned kind of can opener. You made two little slices into the top and little triangles. He took links of rope, knotted them, tucked the links into the can, the holes in the can, and we had like the ropes to pull up the can. We stepped on the can, we pulled up the rope, and we had stilts. And we loved them dearly. We used them for years until he made us, years later, real stilts out of just pieces of wood. And we used those stilts until we left home. Loved them. One year, that grandfather painted me a painting, an oil painting, and signed it Granddad. I still have that painting on my wall, and I look at it every morning and remember him. My other grandfather made me a dollhouse out of scrap wood, which I loved and used my whole childhood. And finally, there was this doll. I wanted this. If you remember the Sears catalog, every year, that was where my wish list came from. I saw this doll in the Sears catalog. I wanted her for a year. I begged and begged and begged. And finally, a year later, she appeared under the tree, which was nice, and I was happy. But what is the treasure of my life, one of the treasures of my life, is that my mom and both grandmothers made clothes for this doll. Handmade. Somebody, I can't remember who, knitted a scarf, someone crocheted booties, there was a corduroy hat and coat, there were dresses, all handmade. And let me tell you what I treasure. Not the doll, but those clothes, and they're all carefully wrapped in tissue paper and here with me. I just wouldn't part with them for the world. That's what I think kids want gifts made with love, gifts from the heart. Kids want you. They want your time, your energy, and your love, not something plastic from a store. So this year, no matter what your economic situation, please, please give from your heart. But start giving by giving to yourself first. Really important. And that brings me to step 6. Taking care of yourself with the same love and care you show to the people around you is essential, especially this time of year when we're thinking about everybody else. Take time for yourself. Talk to yourself with love and tenderness, no matter what happens or what you do or how you mess up. No more yelling at you. Forgive yourself, love yourself, and move forward. Honor and respect who you are, you wonderful person, you. Take care of yourself physically. Make a schedule for good health and keep to it. Eat well, plan some exercise in your day, rest when you're tired, drink plenty of water, and schedule things you enjoy in the middle of all the other responsibilities. And don't just do them. If you're like me, I say I'm going to and I don't. But I promise, and I'm going to ask you to promise too. Make sure you schedule things you enjoy in your day. And finally, find some space and time in your life for a peaceful time to reflect, meditate, pray, read something uplifting, however you nourish your spirit. Make time to care for your lovely self. And one way to really take care of yourself brings me to step 7, and that's to focus on the positive. I know, thinking differently about things, it can be really tough this time of year, and especially this year. And if you want more information about how to change your thinking, please give a listen to my podcast episode on reframing. But for now, let's just take a couple of moments right here and look at some positive possibilities for this holiday season. Believe it or not, there are some great things. First of all, this could be the healthiest holiday season ever. With less getting together, we're not going to be around so many of those tempting holiday treats. So, less calories, less guilt. Less in-person celebrating means less contact with others and maybe less flu this year. Fingers crossed. With less shopping, you're likely to spend less money and blow your budget yet again. Just imagine with me, waking up February and not being buried in debt. There's a plus. If you're not traveling, you don't have to worry about packing, missed flights, lost luggage, which may result in much lower stress levels. With less celebrating, less need to bake, buy, shop, wrap, which means there's going to be time to focus on some fun things, the walk with your family or go alone if you need to. Read a good book, sleep late, take a nap, find ways to love yourself through the madness. All right, this 8th step is my gift to you for the holidays. No matter who you are, what you celebrate, don't celebrate, no matter what's ahead for you in the next few months, if you suffer from anxiety the way I do, fellow sufferer, I want to share with you right now one of the best techniques I know to deal with that feeling of overwhelming anxiety or panic. We need this now. It's so important to ground yourself in the present. And actually, I'm going to talk more about this, ways to ground yourself and deal with anxiety and panic attacks in an upcoming podcast. So stay tuned. But I just couldn't wait to give this to you now because I think we could all use this. I want you to have something to help you get through the tough times ahead. This technique has a number of names. It's lots of people talk about it in different ways, but I just call it my rule of 3. It's a simple 3-step process you can use anytime you're feeling overwhelmed with anxiety. You use it to ground yourself, refocus your brain, and ease your fear. So what I'd like to do today is just do it together so you can see how it feels. It's really simple. The more you use it, the better. All right. Let's do this together. Just settle comfortably. Take in a deep breath And as you breathe out, really focus and feel how your body relaxes and everything lets go. Breathe in and just relax with the exhale. Now, step one, just simply look around you and find 3 things that are alike to look at. You can pick, let's just say red things. Just find 3 red things in your environment. Could be blue, could be 3 things that you love. You get to pick, but you're going to find 3 things to look at. Step one. Step 2 is to listen and see if you can find 3 different sounds around you. Is the wind blowing? Is there something humming? Is the radio on in the background? And you may not be able to find 3. All what I'm asking you to do is just listen and see if you can find 1, 2, or 3 sounds. And number 3 is to simply move 3 different parts of your body. Doesn't matter which. You can blink your eyes, wiggle your feet, nod, lift your shoulders. It doesn't matter which 3 body parts you move. Just pick 3 and move them. That's it. It refocuses, it brings you back to the present, and it allows your brain to shift the way it's thinking. So it's take a breath, look, listen, and move. That's simple. And you can use it anytime you're feeling overwhelmed through the holidays to allow you to sort of find a sense of peace and calm as you go through your days. Number 9, finally. No, yes, we are almost at the end of 2020, a year which has been, well, you know what it's been, but it's almost over. And as we all look forward and towards 2021, we can also know that change is coming. And no matter what you're going through, no matter when you're listening to this, no matter how long you've been struggling through a tough time, please know, please hear this, there will be an end to that pain and suffering. I promise you, there is a new day coming. And you can start right now to put together a plan to make 2021 your best year ever. As you know, over the next few days, spend some time dreaming about what that greatness, what that fabulous year would look like. And get ready in your heart and your soul for the better days ahead. They're coming. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you'd like to be a part of the Anxiety Connection, please subscribe. And if you'd like to know more about how to heal and deal with your anxiety year-round, go right to the show notes to get the address of my website, wendyleeds.com, so you can get your own free downloads for 4 great anxiety-busting tools. And in the show notes, you can also find information about how to get your very own copy of my book, Calm and Sense. I am so glad we got to spend time here together today. And until we're together again, I wish you peace, joy, and love.